Hey guys, good afternoon, More Medic One. Today I've got a little Briggs & Stratton Intech overhead valve, 6.5 horse engine on the bench. And what the problem is the oil level is way overfilled. Here's the problem. A catch can below, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to take the oil fill plug, and as we can tell how thin that oil is, the gas has made its way into the crankcase. So when this thing is just sitting and you have a faulty float valve or needle and seat inside the carburetor, it kind of acts like a float in your toilet, and whenever the level gets to a certain point, it shuts off. Well, if that valve is bad and that needle and seat is not sealing off, that fuel is going to migrate its way up through the carburetor, and it can actually fill up in here where the air horn is. If your intake valve is closed, your intake runner and all that will be full of gas, and then the level will actually come up into here, and that fuel will actually flow right down this breather tube right into the engine. Now, if your intake valve is open, you're going to flood the cylinder with gasoline. The gas can leach down past the rings, it can leach down past the valve guide. It's just not a good deal. So this engine is going to have some carburetor work, to most definitely, and it's going to have to be flushed out because it's got, the crankcase is just full of gasoline. When I cranked it up, oil and gas just shot out of here, right here. If your float itself has a pinhole in it and your float fills up with gas, then that can also cause the float to drop and not shut the fuel off, because if your float is full of liquid, it's not buoyant. I think that's the right word, buoyancy. It's not buoyant anymore, and it won't shut off the fuel. A lot of these engines have a shut off right here, but that was just for an engine that was going to be transported on a trailer or the back of a truck or something. You want to turn that fuel off to keep the vibrations of the road and stuff from fluttering the float inside the carburetor. Whenever you're going down the road and it's bouncing, you can actually flood temporarily, and it's not good on the seat, in the needle and the seat banging against each other while you're going down the road. So it's just a good idea to turn the fuel off while you're in transport mode. I noticed quite a bit of dirt ingestion on this engine, and I've already cleaned it, of course, but here's the culprit for that. Your air filter may look brand new and clean, but the felt or foam seal that went around this filter is just rotten. As you can see that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and drain this oil. Whoop. We also have an issue with the gas cap. As you can tell, it's broken, and 9 times out of 10 this center pops out is because the gas cap's being over tightened severely. I'll put a link in the description below where I did this same style or this same repair on a Craftsman garden tractor, so you can watch that, how I diagnosed and repaired that. So we'll get this one going as soon as parts come in, and we'll be good to go. The only other, there's 2 more ways that I can think of at this moment that how your crankcase can get full of gas is somebody actually mistaken, and I've seen it before, put gas into the oil thinking that's where you put it. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. So just be cautious of and just ask questions. Hey, when you filled this thing up with gas, where did you put it? And make the customer point to where he put it. I mean, it's not going to hurt to to lead the question, ask the customer what's going down. But the only other way is if you had a fuel pump on this engine, and the way that those diaphragm fuel pumps work is that you have an inlet and an outlet on the fuel pump that would mount on the side, and then you'd have a hose that ran over to the crankcase for the pulse. Well, if the diaphragm of the pump ruptures, that fuel can run right down that impulse hose down right into your crankcase. So that's one good way you can get fuel in there. If a fuel pump is wet on that outside vent of the weep holes, no question, I replace it because it's seeping. So anyway, guys, like I said, I'm gonna get the parts in. We'll get this thing going. I'll do a video on how to R&R this. Excuse me with the background noise. I'll do a video on how to R&R this this carburetor. It's going to be way less expensive to replace the carburetor than it is try to rebuild it. But I've got plenty of carburetor rebuild videos, and I'll link them in a playlist below. So anyway, guys, y'all have a good rest of your Tuesday, and we'll catch y'all guys on the next one. Have a great day. Mower Medic 1.